Well, now to the UK and the increasingly confusing issue of just how Britain will extract itself from the European Union. In a landmark ruling in London overnight, the Supreme Court ruled 8-3 that the government must give Parliament a vote before it can trigger Article 50 to begin the Brexit process. This could pave the way for amendments to soften the impact of Britain's exit, with the opposition already flagging changes. Anne Barker has the latest.
As disappointing as the ruling is for the UK government, given it lost the case, it could have been much worse. The Supreme Court stopped short of giving Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland rights to vote on the Brexit process, a move that might have ultimately prevented Britain's exit from the EU altogether. Instead, the court has ruled the government must give Parliament a vote before it can start the Brexit process. And at worst, that might mean a delay.
This judgment does not change the fact that the UK will be leaving the European Union, and it's our job to deliver on the instruction the people of the UK have given us.
Brexit Secretary David Davis says legislation will be introduced within days to begin the parliamentary process of withdrawal.
Our timetable for invoking Article 50 by the end of March still stands. That timetable has given valuable certainty to citizens and businesses in the UK and across Europe. It's understood by our European partners and provides a framework for planning the negotiation ahead.
Nevertheless, the court decision now gives opposition parties and opponents of Brexit a chance at least to amend the legislation to ensure a softer Brexit for workers or business. Labor leader Jeremy Corbyn says the opposition won't block the bill but will be seeking changes.
We must be able to hold the government to account. That's what Parliament exists for, to hold them to account, to make sure that the negotiations actually are for the benefit of all of the people of this country, however they voted in the referendum. We're going to hold them to account to make sure British industry does have market access, and we're not going to allow ourselves to become some kind of offshore tax haven. That's not what people voted for.
Australia's High Commissioner to the UK, former Foreign Minister Alexander Downer, says he expects minimal obstruction to the Brexit process in the Parliament.
I think the expectation here in London is that the Parliament will vote to allow Theresa May to activate Article 50. I think it's very unlikely that there'll be any problems with that. You see, the thing is, the country has voted by a majority to leave the EU, and MPs would be very reluctant to defy their electorates and oppose leaving the EU. I think it's therefore very likely that you'll see the vote go through.
Australia is one of numerous countries keen to negotiate a separate trade deal with the UK once Britain leaves the EU. But the logistics of that could prove a challenge, given Britain hasn't negotiated a trade agreement of its own since the early 70s. But Anne McNaughton from the Centre for European Studies at the ANU believes the court decision won't change the timing.
It's not going to slow the process down for the UK leaving, and so the time frame within which Australia could even begin to negotiate with the UK remains unchanged. Australia is already moving towards opening formal negotiations for a free trade agreement with the EU. So those things remain unchanged by this decision.
That's Anne McNaughton from the ANU Centre for European Studies talking to Anne Barker.